to really test well, that the Note 9 kind of beated the OnePlus. It is on its on its S Pen and the many functionalities of it. But you take the pen away, it can. One of the versions, I think it was 512 gigabytes of RAM. Actually, an i5 core computer in a smartphone, but the thing is that it's not available at all markets and at all stores. It's not a reachable item, as we could say as that. But I think in the first hours that I had this phone, it is really amazing. It is already had many features. We're talking about a 48 megapixel camera with an 8 megapixel telephoto lens. And besides that, a 16 megapixel camera. We have a 16 megapixel camera that pops up from the display. And that one comes from inside the display. Unlike the S10, in which the front camera, it's a notch that is apart from the whole border of the phone, like a traditional notch that they are like attached to the border. So with time you can kind of get used to them, but in the case of the S10, it doesn't. So we're talking about that the OnePlus 7 Pro has already beat Samsung because the main competition due to the platform is Samsung. But as I was talking earlier in this review, do not underestimate the power of the Oxygen OS. Because I could be with iPhone users. I could give them the point that Android with time gets a lot of lagging and sometimes really quicker than most iPhones, and that is something that it is completely true. But the Oxygen OS, as I was speaking earlier, makes you feel, and I could give you a full review on it because I've been months using it, using Oxygen OS. The thing is, it works really way faster. I had never experienced lagging like of any kind with the Oxygen OS platform. So far, so good. I have recorded podcasts without having a problem. Goes a little bit nuts on calls in functionality, but it's sometimes when I got the 6T phone, I didn't have the video call feature. I was like really pissed about that. And one major flaw that it doesn't have wireless charging, but I'm not complaining. Wireless charging, it comes really good on a card that comes equipped with it. And I don't have the money or the card that comes equipped with wireless charging. So in that area, I don't feel like I'm missing out on a lot. One of my main concerns when I got the OnePlus 60 was the elimination of the 3.5 millimeter jack, the normal headphone jack, and it was replaced. But once again, the OnePlus 7 Pro doesn't come with them. I bought them. I bought original OnePlus headphones that go directly to the USB Type-C port, and they sound like out of this world. Immediately as you put those earplugs in, it makes an immediate installation, and the sound enhancement is really something that goes way beyond. So as for this moment, I think that OnePlus, due to the fact that they work inside the Android platform, even though they don't feel these phones in an operational level, they don't feel like Android at all. But the thing is that they're mainly competing with Samsung. So I'm making comparisons with iPhones, but they're mainly competing with the Samsung phones. So in the case of Apple, they have been really shy on changes. They have been like motherly delivering changes to a small crowd, not a small crowd, to their followers, but it's not like they're like with this phone. It's like they are not making these huge upgrades, and that's another area in which OnePlus is like breaking the mold. And it is the fact that they are like, we're gonna get a new phone. We got one 6 months. There's a brand right now that they can fall back and go with this excuse that which is what Samsung has been doing, especially between the S8 and the S9, but most between those phones, because I would say that from the S8 we could jump to the S10, because the S8 and the S9 are virtually the same phone, same functionality, only a little bit of advancement in the gigahertz on the processor, and advancements, I will say, in that area, a little bit on camera and a little bit on functionality. But it's actually the same phone. It got Bixby, it got the app drawer, it got everything that you gotta use on the Galaxy phone. It got it, but it hasn't made like a big change. It took them 2 years to make a big change. In the case of Apple, to make a big leap on the design, it took them around 3 to 4 years. And this company, I'm speaking about OnePlus, is actually promising overloading and making this like, the upgrades that, compared to Apple and Samsung right now, the upgrades that OnePlus is working on their phones, it's like a Power Ranger getting along inside a Megazord. That's what they do. That's the experience that they give you. It's like right now, this is the OnePlus actual Megazord. In November, we're gonna have a new Megazord. So around October, this phone becomes a Power Ranger, and it still functions in a proper and really great way. So kudos for that to OnePlus. I'm really curious with what they will be coming up on November, and I think at some point they will have to halt a little bit the wheel. I think they want to what I'm seeing with OnePlus is that they want to get more. They're not even. I'm talking about that their main competition is Samsung, but it is on the U.S. market. But I see them in the technology and all of these technology improvements, like aiming more to phones like the Xiaomi MyMix. For those of you who don't know, the Xiaomi MyMix is a phone that you hold the entire display in your hand. If you put it like a baby, like you cradle it in your hands, it's like you slap and you have a complete display for you. And those phones are around when they're around $3,000. People complain for about a grand phone. That one is 3 times higher. The price, the material. There have been a lot of complaints on it because it is really heavy. It is built up on ceramic. It gets really heated sometimes. But I think they're aiming there. I think OnePlus, and I will say that with time too, right? Because I would say that the OnePlus 7 Pro and the OnePlus brand as a whole, it's aiming no longer at the typical flagship of the main commercial brands. I think they're aiming to all deluxe market as an overall. And I think they will be pointing at phones like the Xiaomi MyMix. They will not be focusing on phones like, because I was reading a couple of months ago an article that was selling that the smartphone died, but the smartphone don't die. They play an important part of our lives every day. The thing is that the concept that Samsung and Apple, they know that they have such a faithful following that they don't have to bother making huge improvements on the phone. They just make these kick-ass PR campaigns and they sell you the same phone with a slighter modification. I wouldn't even call it an upgrade, but a slighter modification on the specs. And speaking of specs, and specs specifically, and they don't change them. And people go to the stores and they go in these frenzies, and it's actually the same phone. And that's something that on a personal level, I've been telling to people for so long. They're selling you the same phone with smaller upgrades, and what this brand is doing is trying to take back the game to major upgrades, major stuff. So I cannot wait to the OnePlus 8, and I just got the 7 a couple of I would say like a day and a half ago. Well, not even that. It's like a day. It's not even 36 hours from the time I'm recording this. I think I have it some like 24 hours, and I'm already excited. But thanks to the Jump on Demand program from T-Mobile, and that's about that for the moment, because it is a first look. It is a first look on the. Wait a minute. Oh, get the fuck out. Check this shit. This phone has something that is called the Zen mode, right? And I've been recording in this moment, as you can see on the timeline, for more than 50 minutes. So check this out. The phone sends me a message that you have been with your phone. You have been with your mobile phone. You have been with your mobile phone. Try to put down your mobile phone for a while and enjoy present moments in the real world. That's something really deep. Now I know I have to put Zen mode off, but I have to put Zen mode off. But I think that it's really good. And it's really important that we put the cell phones down and we start enjoying life. I think that's maybe one of the cons of doing everything with the phone. So, or turning your phone into a Swiss Army knife. So, that's the first look on the OnePlus 7 Pro, and a little bit of a review on the OnePlus 60 that I think I owe to you from a long time ago. And the phone is really great, especially if you're an Android user. And the thing is that it has got a lot of curiosity out of Android users specifically. And the thing is that I've been telling a lot of them, go for it. You don't like it, return it in 7 or 14 days. But I can pretty much bet my ass that you will not go back to iPhone after you have tried a OnePlus phone. And as I've told you, it's not the same protocol Android system. It's the Oxygen OS. It's not like a huge on display and how it looks, but in the way it functions. And sometimes it's really hard to criticize on that. So, we're going to be closing up on that. Really important. We're about to witness history unravel into our eyes as we started the episode with the Night King, and we started the episode with that song because it is that build up on that episode, the long night. It is that build up that makes get so much reaction, and we're in that moment once again, in that kind of feeling, in that kind of state, and I think it's gonna be for the best. As far as we have made predictions on how the show will go, how the show from what I've been seeing it is that DB Wise and the other David Bonoff and DB Wise, they're gonna be now in the helm of the Star Wars franchise. So the best of lucks and best vibes with them. And if you are really mad about what is going on Game of Thrones, I invite you to go to YouTube. There's a video there on how they made the episode of the Bells. And it is really an amazing episode. How they made it, how they made the explosions, how they made the fire. They had around 20 people torched alive. and they had to reshoot those scenes multiple times. They have these scenes with people that burning at